The first shows that I worked was down here, man, around Houston.
Remember what
all over
locations you
Texas.
worked here in Texas?
Well, I worked Houston, I worked...
Country music has always given us heroes. Voices that spoke for heartbreak, hope, and the spirit of survival. But behind the glittering lights of Nashville, behind the adoring crowds and golden records, lay a darker, dirtier reality. Many of the biggest legends of country music lived lives filled with secrets, betrayals, and tragedies that fans were never meant to know. These weren't just rumors whispered in bars or spread through tabloids. They were real, and in many cases, they were far uglier than anyone imagined. This is the hidden side of country music, the scandals and sins that shaped its greatest stars. Hank Williams Sr., the man whose voice could melt hearts, was not just a poet of pain. He was also a man who caused plenty of it. For decades, stories followed him, tales of infidelity, of hotel rooms filled with smoke and strangers. While fans saw him as the ultimate romantic, those close to him saw something different. A man consumed by his own demons, betraying the woman who loved him most. His wife, Audrey, endured years of heartbreak as Hank's affairs became open secrets in Nashville. He would sing about devotion on stage, then disappear into the night with someone new. Musicians who toured with him told stories of his reckless behavior, his cruelty, his drinking. The truth was that Hank Williams, the first great superstar of country, lived a life of contradictions. Brilliance mixed with self-destruction. His music was immortal, but the man behind it left behind scars that never fully healed. Tammy Wynette, the first lady of country music, carried a mystery to her grave. In 1978, she claimed she had been kidnapped, beaten, and abandoned by strangers on a dark road. The nation was horrified. Photos showed her battered face, and fans wept for her. But something didn't add up. Investigators quietly questioned her story, and years later, her own daughters came forward with chilling claims that Tammy had invented the kidnapping to cover up domestic abuse at the hands of her husband, George Ritchie. The bruises were real, but the story behind them was darker. Her family believed she was protecting her abuser, trapped in a cycle of violence she couldn't escape. The truth, buried under layers of silence and fear, became one of the most disturbing legends in country history. Whether she was kidnapped or covering up something worse, Tammy Wynette's pain was real, a haunting reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from private horror. Then there was the partnership of Porter Wagoner and Dolly Parton, a duo that made magic on television but was falling apart behind the scenes. Porter had given Dolly her big break, but as her fame grew, he tried to control her every move. When she decided to go solo, he turned on her, suing her for millions and claiming ownership of her career. The mentor, who should have celebrated her success instead, became her enemy. Dolly responded not with anger, but with grace, writing one of the greatest farewell songs ever recorded, "I Will Always Love You." But the betrayal cut deep. Fans adored their chemistry, but behind the smiles was a toxic mix of greed, control, and heartbreak. Porter's actions revealed a cruel truth about the industry. Even those who claim to lift you up can be the ones trying to keep you chained. Loretta Lynn, the coal miner's daughter who became a queen, built her legacy on honesty. And that honesty eventually exposed the ugly truth about her own marriage. Her husband, Doolittle Lynn, was charming in public, but cruel in private. In her autobiography, Loretta didn't hold back. She admitted that he was abusive, unfaithful, and often violent. Yet she stayed, loving him fiercely even as he broke her heart over and over. The fans who saw their marriage as a country fairy tale were devastated to learn the truth. Behind the hit songs and proud image of a devoted wife, Loretta had endured years of suffering. Her ability to turn that pain into power became her greatest triumph. The rumor of abuse was never just gossip. It was the hard, disgusting reality she survived to become one of the strongest voices in music. Johnny Cash, the Man in Black, lived a life of contradiction. His songs spoke of faith and redemption, but his personal life told a different story. While married to his first wife, Vivian, Cash was constantly on the road and constantly unfaithful. He was charming, magnetic, and impossible to resist, and he didn't try to. Vivian later revealed in her memoir the heartbreak she endured as she watched him drift further away. Women lined up backstage, drawn by his fame and danger. Cash gave in again and again. The affairs, fueled by fame, drugs, and loneliness, destroyed his marriage and stained his reputation. Even after finding peace later in life with June Carter, the scars of his betrayal remained. For all his talent, Johnny Cash was proof that even legends can destroy the very love they sing about. Conway Twitty, known for his smooth voice and romantic songs, hid a ruthless streak that few knew about. Behind the charm and velvet lyrics was a shrewd businessman who exploited those closest to him. Former bandmates told stories of unfair contracts and stolen profits. The people who had helped build his success were left with nothing while Conway grew richer. Lawsuits followed and his reputation darkened. To his fans, he was the ultimate gentleman crooner. To those who worked with him, he was cold and calculating. The smiling face on stage masked a man who valued money over loyalty, fame over friendship. It was a disgusting side of the industry, a reminder that not every country hero was a man of honor. Tanya Tucker and Glenn Campbell's love affair was as wild as it was destructive. She was young, fiery, and barely out of her teens. He was a superstar nearly 2 decades older, already deep into addiction. Together, they created chaos. Friends described violent fights, screaming matches, and nights fueled by cocaine and rage. The tabloids printed the rumors, but the truth was even worse. Tanya later admitted that their relationship was toxic, filled with jealousy and pain. They hurt each other over and over. It was a romance that burned too bright and too fast, leaving both of them scarred. The public saw glamour and passion, but behind closed doors, it was a nightmare of abuse and addiction. Their story remains one of the most disturbing love affairs in country music history. Then came Johnny Paycheck, the outlaw who took the outlaw life too far. His temper and drinking were legendary, but in 1985, his recklessness reached a horrifying peak. During an argument in a bar, Paycheck pulled out a gun and shot a man in the head over a plate of food. Miraculously, the victim survived, but Paycheck went to prison. It was the final act in a life spiraling out of control. Once celebrated for his rebellious spirit, he became a symbol of self-destruction. His fans were left stunned, watching a man they admired throw his career away in a drunken rage. The rumor of him being dangerous wasn't just talk. It was the awful truth. His story became a warning that living the outlaw image can lead to a real-life tragedy. Lefty Frizzle's downfall was quieter, but no less heartbreaking. He had one of the most beautiful voices in honky-tonk history, yet he destroyed himself with alcohol and irresponsibility. Stories of him missing shows, forgetting lyrics, and showing up drunk became common. His label lost faith, and fans drifted away. By the time he died at just 47, he was a forgotten legend, his promise wasted. The rumors of his self-destruction were painfully true. Lefty's story became a warning whispered through Nashville. Talent means nothing if you can't control your demons. The story of Spade Cooley was even darker. Pure horror. A Western swing star adored by fans, he was secretly a violent, jealous man. In 1961, he snapped and murdered his wife in front of their daughter. The rumors of his temper had circulated for years, but no one believed they could lead to something so evil. His daughter's testimony sent him to prison, and his name became a stain on the music he once ruled. Spade Cooley's story wasn't gossip. It was proof of how fame can hide monsters in plain sight. Then there was Patsy Cline, beloved, angel-voiced, and haunted. In the months before her death, she told friends she felt something terrible coming. She spoke about dying young, even writing notes preparing for it. People brushed it off as nerves. But when her plane crashed in 1963, the eerie rumors became chilling truth. Her letters surfaced, and her friends' accounts confirmed she had predicted her fate. It wasn't scandalous, but it was deeply unsettling. A glimpse into the premonitions of a woman whose life ended far too soon. And then, the story of Elvis Presley, the man who changed music forever, but was once told he'd never make it. When he performed at the Grand Ole Opry in 1954, his new sound shocked the crowd. The Opry managers hated it. They told him to go back to truck driving, saying he didn't belong on their stage. Humiliated, Elvis walked away that night, heartbroken. But that rejection lit a fire in him. Within a year, he was the biggest name in the world. The rumor about the Opry's rejection wasn't a myth. It was a historic mistake, one that the country establishment would regret forever.